Good evening, everyone. March the 4th, Tuesday. Seems like a long week already, doesn't it? So let's take a look at what's going on. So I've changed my strategy a little bit, and instead of trying to use charts, I'm just going to use the magic 8-ball. I'll just ask it a question and see what it tells me. So can the market bounce back? Well, the magic 8-ball says outlook not so good. And I think you might be right. So as always, I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only, and you have to make your own investing decisions. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Let's see what's happening today. Another leg down on the market bias matrix, way below the previous low. So I think that pretty much sums it up. Let's take a look at the S&P. What's happening here. And as you can see, it ended today down here. Interestingly, it sold off and came all the way back, right back to that 58, the 58.61 is where it came back to. So that 58.50 area is, as I've said for weeks now, is a critical support area. And we keep testing that particular area. Now there is a little bit of support right here as well. This was the low from back here. So that's at 57.80, and that's right where we closed today. So, and that's a spinning top candle as well, which many times can mean that it's a reversal candle, but you don't know until the next day. It needs confirmation from the next day's candle, but that could be a reversal. However, you can see that the extreme is still a little bit further down, and the momentum is continuing to accelerate, and we had big volume today on a down day. So none of those things are good. Implies that we may have more downside left. NASDAQ 100, see what it's doing. Also a spinning top candle, but actually came back into positive territory today. So we have two spinning top candles that we can take a look at. Or I should say confirm with tomorrow's action. We'll see what tomorrow brings. Bitcoin. I have not looked at these charts yet today, by the way, but Bitcoin, let's see what it's doing. Bitcoin had a nice bounce today. Came all the way back up, and that's a hammer. So that also is a reversal candle. So even though we sold off quite a bit, all of these charts are showing potential reversals. But again, I want to reiterate that they are not reversals until they are confirmed with tomorrow's candle. So we have to wait one more day to find out. And then, of course, I'll just ask the magic 8-ball again. And we'll see what it says tomorrow. So that's where those are. Let's look at the equal weight chart that I updated tonight. And on the equal weight, this is a little bit different than the others. The other ones I showed you were market weighted. So the large cap tech stocks, especially, have probably 45% or 50% of the weighting. But this one is equal weighted. So that makes them all equal. And what you see on the NASDAQ is also a spinning top candle. So that might also be implying potential reversal. Now, the major support now is down here on these. So that's right here on the chart. You can bring that up anytime you want and take a look at it. All of the momentum indicators are still accelerating to the downside. Nothing has turned up yet. And on the equal weight S&P, it looks worse than the NASDAQ. It ended near the lows of the day. And again, the extreme, the Keltner channel, the 3x level is right at this support level. So if we do sell off some more, I think that is probably a place where we're going to get at least a short-term rally back up. But again, we'll have to wait for tomorrow to see what happens. So let's look at the dashboard real quick. First, we'll start with equities. And you can see right here, this is what creates the spinning top. The market went down. It tried to make it back up. In fact, like I said on the S&P right here, came right back to that 58.50 level. Interestingly, here's the 10-minute chart. So you see right there, 58.50. That's right about where it ended yesterday. Came right back up and tried to, hang out there. But the last 30 minutes of the day, it sold off. So to me, that could be an indication that there'll be a reversal as well tomorrow. But again, we have to wait and see. The VIX, though, VIX spiked up in that last 30 minutes too. So I'm not sure what the news was. Maybe there was something happening in that last 30 minutes that caused it to spike. If anybody knows, just put it in the chat section. Daily chart still looks pretty bad. It's got a short-term down signal. Medium-term down signal. Just happened today as well on the S&P. And the weekly is below the 21. The 8-day has not crossed yet. So again, as I said yesterday, we have to wait for the end of the week to see how this does. If we do get a reversal and we get a bounce back up, there is a possibility. Now, this is not the VTI. This is the S&P. I'll look at the VTI in a second, but it looks very similar. We could still potentially bounce back up above that line. Or frankly, you know what I would like? I would like to see it end the week just below that line and just give me a go to cash signal and just get out, because I think that the whole market looks pretty weak right now. It's due for a bounce. It's very oversold, so it's due to get a bounce here soon. So we'll see if that happens. Here's the 20-year. 20-year went down today. Unlike the last few days where it had been going up, the 10-year went up slightly. So those two are acting in opposite directions right now. Commodities, gold was up today. Oil was basically flat, was down initially, but now it's pretty much flat. Gasoline, same thing, flat. Commodities up a little bit. Crypto, here's Bitcoin. Bitcoin actually was up a little bit from yesterday. That's what makes that hammer candle. And it created that right at the end of the day. So it was down near 82,000, between 82 and 84 most of the day today, right until that last half hour. Actually, a little bit more, probably the last 2 hours. And then it went back up and created that candle, which is a reversal. Hammer is a reversal candle. Okay, let's take a look at the cap-weighted S&P. Technology was, even though they're all red, by the way, this is just for today. Technology was at the top, communication services. So we've got two, and also interesting as well, also implying that we're going to get a bounce tomorrow. So we've got technology and communication services, two of the three aggressive sectors. The third one is still down here near the bottom, discretionary. That's not looking great. Technology has a spinning top candle. Communication services has a spinning top candle. So all of those look like they want to make a comeback. So over here, we'll take a look. These are basically in alphabetical order. So you have to actually look at them. Discretionary, 69% decliners and 29% advancers. So again, still more decliners than advancers. And the macro model over here has the S&P short-term, medium-term. This is kind of like what I created. I actually got the idea from stock charts. And in fact, I think David Keller actually is the person that actually came up with this initially. This is the Keller market model. So I think he's the one that came up with this idea, which I think is a great idea. Bonds, short and medium term are up. Commodities, medium term up, and dollar, medium term up as well. So over here, energy, coal was the big winner. Renewable energy and semiconductors, in the top three best industry groups today. That's pretty interesting. Computer services from the technology group. Home construction was up today as well. I'm going to go over and look at some of those. Let's go to the charts page. And first, we'll look at renewables. So these three were the worst performers last week. So renewable energy today had a little bit of a bounce, not much. If we look at the stocks, We'll see which ones did the best. TPI, Ballard Power, Fuel Cell Energy, Enphase. These are all rallying today. Plug Power. These are all names that have sold off a lot. And, it's in the top 3 of the top industry groups. You can see the technical ranking over here is pretty bad. That's because it just keeps going down. But these all right here, that's pretty interesting that all of these, Solar Edge is up here. All of these 20% on TPI, 13% on Ballard, 11% up on fuel cell. So all of those are looking pretty good. Semiconductors. These are the winners for today. Not really big names. ACM, Taiwan Semi had some great news, building factories in the US, up 4%. But the rest of these, Marvell, had some gains today. But all of these have been beaten down quite a bit. Let's see what's at the bottom. Intel. Intel's bringing up the rear, way down here. So Intel had a nice run. They keep bouncing on news of an acquisition, and then it doesn't come to fruition and just falls like a rock from there. All right, the other one was home builders. Let's get that one. Home construction. Home construction today, Comstock, Dreamfinders, Hovnanian, Meritage, KB Home. These are all on the top. You can see the percentage gain for the day. Pulte was up there. So these are all percentage gainers for the day. If we look at the week, they're all negative. So for the week, unfortunately, NVR is at the top, but it's negative for the week. So this is just a one-day bounce, it looks like. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow could be that reversal that we've been looking for. All right. What else? I want to look at the VIX, because the VIX looked like it was up today as well. Yeah, VIX is even higher, closed higher than yesterday. So it continues to go up, 23.5 for the VIX, and the rate of change is just going parabolic now. So the VIX is signaling that bears are in control of that. Let's go down through the first few of the daily routine. I'll use the S&P. So we are now, the medium term is now below 0. This is what I've been waiting for, what I've been looking for. This is similar to what happened in 22 at the beginning of that cyclical bear market, and we are below the 21 up here. So everything now is mirroring 2022. So we are definitely oversold. So we could get a bounce back up. This is a weekly chart. But this is confirming that this downtrend probably is going to continue through the year. In this particular case here, the next week, the week after this one, even though it closed above the 50, it went below the 50. And you can see right here, we're pretty close to the 50 also. So that could happen as well. And here's money flow. So the quarterly is the one in the foreground, the darker one. And the annual is the lighter one in the background. So what you can see back here, when the market went down through this period, it went below 0. It went negative. 0 is over here on the left-hand side. The quarterly is about to go below 0 as well. That could happen as early as tomorrow too, if we don't get a reversal. You can see over here right at the same time when the medium term went below 0, that is also when the money flow, quarterly money flow went below 0. So we're not quite there yet on money flow, but that could happen at any point. And then through this whole period, money flow was mostly down until we had a little bit of a rally right there. But it was overall money flow was down through that period until we got here to the reversal. We started going back up again. All right, that's very interesting. So that's confirming what I've been saying for a few weeks now. Here's the S&P big picture. This was the um, bearish wedge that I talked about before. They usually break to the downside, and we're sitting right on the 200-day moving average. So interestingly, the S&P came right down to the 200-day and bounced right back up went back up to 58.50, and then the last 30 minutes sold off a little bit. So that again is implying to me that we could get a little bit of a rally into the end of the week. We'll see. Keltner charts, see what the extremes look like. It's still getting really close to the extreme. So what I kind of would like to see is a big sell-off in the morning and then a big reversal in the afternoon, coming all the way back up in the afternoon, maybe creating a hammer like Bitcoin did. We'll see. 10-minute charts, take a look at those. So there again, you can see that last 30 minutes. It was basically selling off all the way most of the day until around noon. Tried to make a comeback. That's here today. So sold off until noon, came all the way back, was getting ready to end flat, and then the last 30 minutes just sold off for that whole period. Technology was flat. Financials were down. Financials were the ones that were leading. Discretionary down. Communication services, the internet group, actually was up a little bit. And industrials were down slightly. We look at the defensive stocks. Healthcare up, staples up slightly. Energy was down quite a bit. Utilities were up and materials were down. So it's a mixture, but more of the defensive areas were gaining today rather than the aggressive areas. So we'll see. Very oversold markets right now, though. What else do we want to look at? I think that's about it. The one question that I had from a subscriber that I'll cover, and then we'll close it out for today, was he wanted me to review the 8-bar rule from that John Carter told me about when I met him at the Money Show in Sarasota. So the 8-bar rule, and I'm going to use the one that he was talking about, which is SQQQ. This is the triple leveraged inverse ETF. So triple leverage ETF, and this would have been a good time to get in, and I'm going to make a little bit of a change to the MTS strategy where on the daily chart, I'm going to actually show the switch over to the inverse. I should have done that this time. I might actually still do it. That doesn't mean that's the time to get in, but I'm going to do it and put the date. The date was February 21st. So the 8-bar rule that John Carter mentioned was, he said whenever he gets a signal, he'll stay in for 8 bars, 8 to 10 bars, what he said. 8 to 10 bars, or if it hits the top Keltner channel, the extreme on the Keltner channel. And you can see today we hit it right there. So that's the 3x extreme. Any further and it would be in 4x territory. But let's count the bars. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Look at that. 8 bars exactly. That's where he would get out also, or if it hit the top of the Keltner channels, the extremes, he would get out even if it was before 8 bars. So that's the way he does it. This would be a great strategy using the SQQQ, the triple leveraged, if you had got in back on February 21st. And I mentioned back then that, it closed above the 21, which is what I'm looking for usually. And that would have been a good entry point. And I think today would have been a good exit point. So this, again, is giving me one more signal that we may be getting a short-term bounce tomorrow. We're going to see. All right, so that's the 8-bar rule from John Carter. I want to stress that these things aren't perfect. That doesn't mean they always work. You can go back and try it. This is probably not a good one to try it on because the market has been just going up. So this inverse ETF will just be going down. But that's how it works. And look at the volume down here on this too. Huge volume. So lots of people getting into the inverse ETFs right now. We'll see. By the way, let's just take a look on the for those that are subscribers. On the bottom of the charts page, I have a number of inverse ETFs just to give you an example of what they look like. So if you look at the SDS, which is the 2x short for the S&P, what I did was I put the short and the long side by side so you can see how they mirror each other. So the inverse is at the top and the long is at the bottom. So when the S&P goes down, the inverse goes up. And I did it that way deliberately just to show the mirror image. And it's pretty amazing how closely they map to each other. Here's bonds. So bonds right now have been going up. The TBT is the short. So it's been going down. So if you like playing TLT and it gets to a point where it's rolling over, like back here, you could just get out and switch to the TBT and make money on the way up. So all of these are right on the website. There's the VIX, there's miners, there's gold and GLL. So gold down here, this is the long. It's went up today and the short one was going down. So you can definitely see you wouldn't want to be in the short inverse through this whole period. But all of those are right on the website. You can take a look at those. What I might do is I'll probably put a link to all of the inverse ETFs so you can see them all, but this is an example of some of them. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Let me know if there's anything you would like me to look at or cover. By the way, Technical Tuesday, I was actually going to do, you know what, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to add a little bit to this, and this is going to be the Technical Tuesday because it won't take very long. And what I wanted to show is how do you know when we have a bottom? And I have on the website, the Bottom Finder, I showed this before, but what I'm going to show in addition is how to find the stocks when we get to a bottom. So here's the S&P. Actually, I'm going to do this on the NASDAQ because there's 100 stocks in this, so it makes it very easy. So the way to look at this is these are the stocks that are above their 50-day moving average and above their 200-day. So for the 50-day, 43% or 43 stocks, so less than half are above the 50-day. On the 200, 52%, just about half, are above the 200-day. A bottom happens when you get way down here at 20%, when only 20% of the stocks are above their 50-day moving average. It happened back here as well through this little down cycle. It happened right here through this little down cycle. And interestingly, even as painful as this feels, and you can see it ended right there at the 200-day, as painful as this feels, we could actually have a lot more to go because there's still a lot of NASDAQ 100 stocks above their the 20% line. So there's the VIX down here. Bullish percent is dropping quite a bit. Advanced decline line is dropping a lot, but the percentage of stocks isn't. So there could be a lot more to go, even though I think we're going to get a rally, maybe towards the end of this week or maybe starting tomorrow. But it'll probably go up and continue to come back down. So watch that. So how do you find stocks that are in that group? How do you find the stocks that are still above their 50-day moving average when it gets down to 20%? So that's one thing I want to make clear. This will work, but you want to wait until it's really at a bottom. So I'm going to create a new scan. This is stock charts. So I just clicked on new scan. It automatically puts in looking for a stock with volume above 40,000. I always like to make this 100,000. And then I want stocks in the NASDAQ 100. So we go down here. This helps you build your scans, by the way. in stock charts. So this is kind of a shortcut to help build scans. You can use your own chart lists right here. So all of my chart lists are in here. But over here, I'm going to pick the NASDAQ 100 right here. So that's the index that I want to use. Click on add and it adds it up here. Next thing I want to do is find the ones that are above their 50-day moving average. So I'll go to technical indicators and go to SMA because I want the 50-day simple moving average. Now it automatically puts in volume right here, but I don't want volume. I want the close. So I'm looking for stocks that are above the 50-day that are in the NASDAQ. So I'm looking for stocks that have a close greater than the 50-day moving average. So that's as easy as it is. And I want 100,000 in volume. So that might change the number a little bit, but let's see what we get. So these are stocks above their 50-day. 44. So there's 44 stocks. What did I say before on that? Over here, let's see. Yeah, I overwrote that one. Let's go back and look at the NDX again. So 43, so pretty close. It says 43%, so pretty close. Probably something happened right at the close. So that was the scan. These are the stocks. These are the stocks, 44 of them. When it gets down to only 20%, meaning only 20 out of 100 stocks are above their 50-day, then you'll get the 20 stocks right here. So, and then you can further, you can look by industry, you can look by sector. There's different ways you can filter this information. If I wanted to look for the ones that were above their 20-day, and EMA in this case, now there's 34. So there's only 34 above the 20-day, even though there's 44 above the 50-day. So again, that's showing that the market is declining. You normally want the 20-day to be higher than the 50-day. And since I usually use the 21, I'm going to put 21 right here and try that. They're same 34. So pretty much the same. So these are the 34 stocks above their 21-day moving average. One trick you can do in stock charts, if I want to put these in another list, I have a list that I created that I put at the very top of all of my lists. I just call it scan dump. It's just a place where I can run these scans and then dump it into another chart list to do the filtering. So I'm going to dump all that into another chart list right here. I can look for the ones that have the highest scooter technical ranking. So again, right now there's only 34, but when it gets down to only 20, this is a way that you can find the ones that are the strongest. This is the one with the biggest percent change: Warner Brothers, AstraZeneca, Adobe. So that's a way that you can start to filter all these things. I can see which ones have been the strongest for the last week. In this case, Intuit. Warner Brothers is up there still too. Monster Beverage, up 5%. So there's a percentage for the week. And still I can see what the scooter score is over there as well. I can also do things like, what is the 20-day moving average? So now I can find the ones that are the closest to the 20-day. So Cisco, Adobe, these are the Costco. Costco sold off today, down 1.78%. But these are the ones that are the closest to their 21-day moving average, 20-day actually, closest to the 20-day moving average. So those are ones I might want to look at that might be getting a bounce. If I want to find the ones that are the farthest away, I don't like it being very far away because that's usually where things reverse. So Gilead Sciences, we can look at that. You can see how far away it is from its 21-day moving average. That's an area where normally these will reverse. This is pretty extended right there. Whereas if I go back and look at the closest one to the 20-day, it's Cisco. We'll take a look at that. And Cisco is sitting right on the 21-day moving average. So that's what I like to see, a stock that's been moving up and has pulled back right to its 21-day. This is a way you can find those even if the market isn't bottoming. This is a good way to find stocks that might have good entry points. So that's my technical Tuesday for today. How to know when the market is bottomed. It doesn't look like it's there yet. It looks like we've got further to go. And then once it does bottom, how do you find the best stocks? So I just showed you how to do that. Thanks for watching. If you want to watch that again, for those that have stock charts memberships, you can go back and review it. In the chart lists and scans page, if those that are members of my website would like to also subscribe to stock charts, there's a subscription page right here, and it shows you, the different levels and what you get out of all those, what the prices are, etc. So all of that's right there. Stock charts is a great platform. I highly recommend it for doing scans and for technical analysis. So that's it for tonight. Thanks for watching. Please like and share, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. We'll see if those reversals actually come true. All right, take care.